Hey there.
Hello.
Welcome to Hugo Girl, a podcast in which we talk about science fiction fantasy works that may or may not be Hugo adjacent. I am Amy.
I am Haley.
I'm Lori.
And this is our first Novella-vember
Novella-vember.
episode.
You've used 30 of your seconds.
Oh, shit! We gotta do an abbreviated intro.
We are on a tight 30-minute clock.
Okay. Oh, God. I just started panicking.
Summarize this plot. Go.
Okay.
Wait, when did it win?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do that. Okay. The first one we're talking about this month is "The Word for World is Forest" by Ursula K. Le Guin. It was first published in the United States in 1972 as part of Harlan Ellison's new wave anthology. Again, Dangerous Visions. It was then published as a standalone book, slightly longer, in 1976. It forms a part of Le Guin's Hainish Cycle works, and it won the 1973 Hugo Award for Best Novel. Bella.
Hence the Novella-vember.
Okay, summary. Earth has set up a logging colony on the planet Athshi, called New Tahiti by Terrans, which are the people from Earth. Terrans are really exploiting all the resources of Athshi, including the local intelligent Athshians. The Athshians are nonviolent little green men who the Terrans have enslaved and generally tormented. Yeah, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. The story centers on a particularly loathsome Terran named Davidson, his treatment of an Athshian named Selver, and how that treatment galvanizes Selver to lead an Athshian revolution and oust the Terrans from the planet. In order to revolt, the Athshians must reject their most fundamental belief in nonviolence, which changes them forever.
Good job.
Thank you. Woohoo. Okay. Goodies from Goodreads. We each get one.
Mine's short.
Okay.
Justin Bowden on Goodreads says, almost as moronically awful as Avatar. Actually, this probably was the first script for Avatar. 1 star.
I think it kind of was, actually. 1 star. I'll have this one from Wynn says, Le Guin's book is totally a broccoli. It's a right choice and good for your body, but I don't like broccoli and it's hard to chew.
Okay. Melissa Stevens on Goodreads gave it 1 star. This is an abridged review. Humans travel to another planet where they proceed to rape, pillage, and enslave the small humanoids and the planet. This isn't socially conscious. It's just a pessimistic view of humanity as it continues to do what it's always done. One could argue this is what would probably happen. In that case, we don't need a book about it because we're still living it.
That is entirely true.
Reminder that, as Delaney says, science fiction is in conversation with the present, Melissa.
I will also say that there's been talk about this book because it was a reaction to the Vietnam War and it was part of this very lefty anthology. And Charlotte Spivak said because it was written in the mood of the reaction to the Vietnam War, it was not meant to be entertainment.
Okay.
That's a good reads for you.
Yeah.
And I was the anthology it originally appeared in was supposed to be a little shocking, I think, like very leftist, which explains maybe why this is so leftist. Like other stories in there include Stoned Council by H.H. Hollis and The Big Space Fuck by Kurt Vonnegut.
That sounds fun.
I know. Okay, general discussion. Are the characters good or not? Go. So I read this book. Davidson, the main guy, is like super awful. Like he's running around talking about how great he is. He's basically MAGA. And it was just like, everything is there for my enjoyment, my use. I'm right all the time. That's my only fault. He's raping and pillaging. I mean, he's just awful.
He reminds me of Michael Shannon's character in The Shape of Water.
Yes.
He's just like the bad through and through, misogynist, controlling, abusive, quasi-military guy.
But he's not even nuanced. Like, there's nothing there.
He's so bad that I almost had trouble believing he was that bad.
Right.
Well, I thought about that, and then I also thought how I have seen people say, like, that if you look back on what people actually did, like, during the American slave trade, people, like, were actually that bad.
True.
So I have that same reaction, but then I was like, well, I mean, there's precedent for people who are this bad.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't doubt it, but, I mean, every person has layers, you know? Like this guy, like the closest we get to layers in this guy is when he talks about like he talks about one part of what sounded like a terrible upbringing, and like how the rats cornered him in a room.
Oh, yeah.
And like he had to
Hurt people,
Like
hurt
that's
people.
yeah, exactly. That's like as close as we get to any nuance. But I mean, usually she's pretty good at depth.
Yeah.
So
This is a short book.
Yeah. And this is polemic, and it is heavy-handed on purpose, I think. Like, like, I don't want to say ham-fisted because that implies that she had no like control over it, but I mean, it is very clear what she's trying to do. And there's like, I almost wonder why she used science fiction to do it. I mean, I guess it's like the other person said, you know, like humanity's not going to change. We're going to do this. So,
well, if she's told to write, I mean, I don't know how she ended up writing this, but if she's told something like, we're going to put this in an anthology that's a reaction to the Vietnam War, write how you envision that. I mean, I can see why she would put hers in the Haynes cycle, you know.
yeah.
But because that's what she knows. That's her genre. But I mean, so there's this other character,
Lubov.
Yeah, Raj Lyubov.
I just would say Lubov, but I'm making that up.
Is he strike you guys as any more nuanced than Davidson? Is he a good guy or bad guy?
I think he's trying the best that he can.
Yeah.
Is he complicit? Is he privileged?
Oh, of course he's
because he's
yeah.
benefiting from his position.
I mean, he went there and he knew what to expect when he got there. Well, he knew the deal. Like, there was no version of this that was going to be okay.
Yeah.
But
Right.
then it got there and it was too much for him. So I think, I mean, he is a good guy, but I think that is a nuance. Like, he participated in this and then was like, oh shit, I don't like it. I want to opt out or I want to help. But like, he still signed up for it knowing that whatever he found was not going to be fine. And I think that is nuance.
Yeah. I imagine it's like a Nazi that figures out what's happening and then hates it, but still works there and tries to do like the good things while he's there, but he's still part of an invading horrible force.
Schindler. He's a Schindler.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah.
I mean, it's like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. There's no nice colonizer.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
One of the reviews I read said something like, it's a half-hearted stab at highlighting the liberal progressive view of colonialism as being inherently evil.
Well,
So is that a liberal progressive view, or is it true?
both. I think both.
Yeah.
I mean, can you colonize without it being bad?
I mean, we're stealing the trees from this planet. That's not ours. I mean,
No, this colonization is bad.
yeah, exactly. But like, even like our Earth is not ours. Like, we don't own those trees, and yet we just buy land.
Are humans colonizers of Earth? We were born here.
Well, according to
More than animals are. Like,
according to Le Guin, we are. We all started off on Hain. And
That's true.
we were seated all over the place.
That's true.
I mean,
And you know my thoughts on the matter.
Lori believes that we are not from here.
I did not know this, Lori.
Oh, we've talked about it on the podcast
We
before.
did?
Yeah.
Was I there?
Yeah.
Because look how we have to fuck it up. Like, I talked about a raccoon last time we recorded. A raccoon is just out there doing its little raccoon thing in its ecological niche. What's ours?
And also, we're the only species that is not pretty much able to take care of itself until it's like 12.
Although, let me backtrack and say there certainly have been societies that did not wreak havoc on the natural world. So
That's true.
Yeah. It's industrialization that's the problem.
But anyway, this book. Well, speaking of how you were like, are all colonizers bad? I had a gut reaction to the fact that their ship was named Shackleton.
I saw
that. That was nice.
It's
How
close to
dare
Moby
they-
Dick Talk.
How dare they name their ship after Shackleton?
Well,
but then I was like, well,
I mean, yeah.
checks out. He was a
going
colonizer.
he was going to Antarctica to see what he could do.
He was so brave.
He was brave, but he was also
A very good judge of character and a very good team leader.
He's a good employer.
He was very good at leading a
a
group
job
project.
creator. He was also a swashbuckler who didn't care what he trod on his way
Exactly.
to. I mean, they went down there and
Triple-down
killed a lot of penguins. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
That part of Endurance where they were just killing the penguins.
So many penguins.
I mean, they had to eat something, but when they were like, they could just walk right up to him because penguins don't have any natural predators on the ice. I was like, oh, they were sitting ducks. Maybe that phrase should be sitting penguins.
Aw, waddling penguins. I was a waddling penguin.
You've eaten penguin.
I've eaten puffin.
Oh, Popham. That's right. That's right.
I'm not sure I would eat penguin.
Okay, so Davidson. I think Davidson is useful because he is holding up a mirror to a lot of the echoes of like the cartoonish badness of him. So like we get to see through his thought process these things that seem really shocking where he's like, oh, you know, you can beat them, you can rape them. They don't really even feel it that much. Well, first of all, if someone doesn't feel being beaten, then why do you
Why
think
are
you're
you
going to get
doing
out of
that?
beating
Yeah.
them? But yeah, he says all that. And I mean, we hear that today with medical racism.
Well, right, and they said that about the enslaved people too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's
exactly,
they're not like you and me.
Exactly.
They don't feel pain
but
like we
right
do.
now in 2022, like Black people report going to the doctor and not having their pain acknowledged, not having their pain treated, or not being believed when they say that they're experiencing discomfort. So like we look at him and we're like, oh my God, he's like a cartoon, he's like a troll. But like stuff like that we see in him still exists today.
I can't remember what podcast I was listening to where they started talking about how in medical textbooks used to this day, there are charts on how much to believe certain races when they tell you how much they're in pain.
Oh my God.
And then how much what their pain tolerance is. And like
it's genetic.
To this day. Come on, people. All right. Maybe Ursula knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Because I think like, we say this all the time, but it's like science fiction will blow something up so it's so big you can't not look at it.
I did think it was really interesting what she did with Davidson when he was confronted with a change to his worldview, right? So he's like, I'm the king here. I can do whatever I want. Earth is behind me. That's what we're doing. And then, there's this meeting with the League of Worlds.
Yeah.
And then,
Ecumen.
Yeah. And then the emissaries from Hain and the other planet.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's Tau Ceti.
Yeah, thank you. They bring the Ansible, and so now he has to suddenly confront the fact that he doesn't get to do whatever he wants to do, and he just sort of chooses not to believe them. Like he convinces himself that they are lying to him so that he can continue to do what he wants to do on this planet. And I was like, that is exactly the mental gymnastics that you see fundamentalists to this day.
Yep. I wrote that down in my notes. It was Colonel Dong, and they said, it's historical fact when they were saying that the Athsheans are humans just like you or me. We all come from the same ancestor. And he says, I am not forced to accept it as a fact, and I don't like opinions stuffed into my own mouth. And I was like, holy shit.
Holy shit.
That's like just saying fake news.
Yes. So it's like this has been going on since at least 1976.
Alternative facts.
Well, and if you think about how hard it is for people to accept people of different, like human beings in the same city of you that have different color skin, people will be racist against. Imagine a green furry thing like that. I bet that just makes their racism even more like, well, it looks, so much different.
Well, that's what they were thinking about the people in Vietnam, I think.
Yeah,
at the time.
I just wonder, like, if all of humans were one skin color, like, what would we choose? Like, would it be like eye color, hair color?
It'd be something, right?
Height?
Something to make...
It's like height in the last book we read. Like,
like Stars in My Pocket.
Yeah, it's like they're not allowed to have sex with people that are shorter than them. Like, so it's an arbitrary thing. But
I mean, I think tribalism runs really deep in us, and so I think it makes some biological or evolutionary sense for us to say you are different than me, therefore I'm going to be skeptical of you until proven otherwise.
Yeah. Maybe that's just like a bad human trait.
I think safety.
I mean, I think that's impossible for us to know though, because we've all been raised that way.
Yeah.
What way?
To like keep to our own, that kind of thing. Like we're all socialized that way. I just don't know how we would know, like how we would be outside of this structure.
That's, we
it's
are the way that
impossible
we
for us
are.
to know.
Exactly.
Or for the future when social groups are already a little bit more fluid than they were 50 years ago or just 500 years ago. People travel more. I think that helps, but I don't know.
I was reading a book about this Silk Roads and about globalization back in the Silk Road days. And it was the same, like globalization isn't a new thing. It happened then too. It just happened on a slower basis, the world was smaller in a lot of ways, but people still did the same thing. They mistrusted each other when they showed up with new stuff. They thought it was Satan or whatever. And it seems like, and weirdly, it's comforting to me to know that we've been doing this forever. We didn't invent it now, this is just how we are.
We're not bad. We're just drawn that way.
Well, that's why, as much as I love space, I don't think we should go. We're not nice.
We're not nice. We're not going to be nice to whatever we find. Maybe we shouldn't go until we can be nice.
Yeah, until we've learned our lesson.
Until we can have nice things.
I love, as always, the use of the Ansible. I find myself thinking about it. How could it do it simultaneously? But I'll never know.
Do phones work like that?
No, because if you were to, like, when they call the moon, when people are, like, near the moon, it takes, like, 30 seconds or something.
Right. The other thing I wonder is that if you're experiencing time dilation, and I'm talking on my end, and you're hearing me on your end, do I sound like I'm all sped up and talking really fast, and then you talk back to me, and it's like, hello.
Is that happening right now?
Houston, do you read?
Spoiler for the next episode.
Oh, the time travel stuff got me thinking for a little bit, and then I get a headache that I kind of like when I think about time travel. So 57 years passes when you travel, because time is relative. And then I wonder if the same moment is always happening everywhere all at once.
What?
I know. See, I don't even understand my question, but I was thinking about it. We need to ask another physicist.
Emily, we need you.
But yeah, that I didn't explain that well and don't expect an answer.
But
I was thinking about time too much like I do.
Well, Ursula does real-time travel, like real-time travel, not time travel, real-time travel in her stuff. So like these people left the Terran worlds, 80 years ago or whatever.
Not to bring up Spaceballs 2 episodes in a row, but there's a scene where they're traveling
I'll go for it.
through ludicrous speed, and then they go back, and it's like their light speed, and they're like, it's now, or it's now then? I want to go back to then. It's something like that, and I love it, and that's what it reminds me of. I hate that we brought murder to the Athsheans, and now they know about murder.
I know. They'll never be the same.
I know. They had to use the master's tools.
Yeah.
It's a cycle of war, y'all. Like, war goes on and on until someone decides they don't need revenge. It does what it takes for war to stop. And
Well,
nobody ever
this
does
wasn't
that.
even revenge. Like, they...
Well, it was tit for tat, right?
Self-preservation, too.
No, I don't think so. I think they had to go scorched earth, or they were gonna... It was... I don't look at it as revenge. I look at it as self-defense.
Yeah, it took a few back and forths.
Avenging, maybe not revenge.
I don't even... to me, it's self...
I think that's how Silver started out, was avenging his wife.
Well...
I mean,
I'm fine. But I'm fine with that. But I think, like...
I'm not his side, obviously.
Yeah. But I think, like, the whole war was self-defense.
Right, the Earthmen had to decide not to retaliate.
And also... Like, I think that it is always a form of self-defense or self of others. Like, even though he was avenging his wife, he attacked a slaver. So, like,
good.
Yes,
I'm not mad at him.
He's got, like, I know, but I still think, like, it is still a form of self-defense. Like, if you've been kidnapped and held in a basement and you sneak upstairs and your captor is asleep and you kill him, I think that was still self-defense, even though you weren't, like, immediately about to be murdered.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
Feminist favorite, you guys, go.
This one is hard because so many women die in this book.
So many women die in this book.
But I do like that they have a matrilineal society for the Athsheans. That seems to be nice.
I liked that when Lubov went to visit them after things had gone sour and everyone was ignoring him, and the only person who would talk to him was a woman who was described as the hobbling, complaining, tiny green crone.
Oh, yes! Like, it's me!
She was McGoblin.
I think it was him that at one point, he said my feminist fave line, which was, but old women are different from everybody. They say what they think.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That whole section was like Ursula like winking at us. And she wasn't even old in 1973.
I know, it's like, basically he's like, but let's put the old ladies in charge. They're the only ones that know anything and say anything that's true.
That's why we need them.
Right after that, though, he said, that woman I betted earlier today was sure nice, but she won't say truth to a man until she's in her 40s.
So funny.
It was so strange.
Yeah.
He didn't like say anything bad exactly,
Right.
but like young women can also be assertive. But I thought it was funny that he was like, she'll be pretty cool when she's 40. Like, men don't normally think things like that.
I was down with it, man. I'm like, you're right. I am much cooler now than I was when I was
Coming into my
20.
prime.
That's right.
I have a career.
I'm croning around. Yeah. It's great.
It was so funny reading this book that I know was written by, one of the godmothers of science fiction, and knowing that she doesn't believe the horrible things she's saying, but I am proud of her for doing it to make a point.
She did a great job, I think, inhabiting these
She knows
characters.
people like this.
I mean, she drew that. As much as Davidson bugged me, I mean, we are being bombarded with men just like him these days.
There's nothing inconsistent about his character either.
No.
I mean, it was really hard to read his chapters, which I think is good writing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Even if he wasn't super multidimensional.
Yeah, I mean, people complain that he's a stock character, but I think that's a really easy criticism to leverage against a despicable person. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people suck, and it's not, and they're not nuanced. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people don't think in nuance. It's
I
true.
read this almost as like a fable kind of thing.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
I don't know, parable maybe. Is that?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's supposed to show us something. and-
Allegory or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind reading a bigger version of this, as Haley would say, the Moby Dick version.
Well,
of
let's
this.
go see Avatar.
I want to read
No, thank you.
stories about those trees.
They reminded me of the piggies from Speaker for the Dead.
Yes.
And you know what else is in Speaker for the Dead? The Ansible.
Oh, that's right.
that's
Which she
right.
invented and is now is like a commonplace thing.
And the very,
That's right.
the emphasis on the forest. I thought Orson Scott Card really read a lot of Ursula Le Guin and liked a lot of it for his writing, but not for his life.
He liked a lot of naked boys in his books.
I mean, the little green men were naked.
Yeah. You know that she originally thought about calling this little green man.
I know.
Which is really
when
cute.
I read that phrase in the book, I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's what we're doing.
I didn't even think about it.
So I think our feminist favorite is just Ursula Le Guin.
Yeah, basically.
Always.
It's always a pleasure to read. You know, we'll read more as we go on with our podcast journey, but I love her.
Podcast journey.
I still have my stamps.
I have my stamps too. Okay. Misogynist moment, guys. I mean,
How to choose?
This book is hard to read.
I think the colonists, what do they call the women? Collies? The women that they flew down to this planet.
It's on page 1 too.
I know.
Page 1!
I know. I was like, oh, we're just going there right away.
They call them, I have this in my boob talk, but they call them breeding females. Females cracks me up because that's still, a thing that makes us always wince. He says, all sound and clean, 212 head of prime
It's
human
what I read. It's
stock.
like, okay, women are cattle. Got it.
I mean, the amount of sexual assault in this book is hard to read as well.
I mean, what they did to the Native women.
Well, and they incorporate the use of slurs and referring to these people, and it's just, there's so many misogynist moments in this book, but that is the point. It's not inadvertent.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to call them misogynist moments.
Totally.
Because it's not, because as we discussed, I think recently, it's like misogynist moment doesn't mean bad treatment of women. It means what we've discussed.
In the
Like
first
the book
women in
is
the
not
female
being
gaze.
misogynist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In the first page, the buxom, bettable, breasty little figure.
That was my boob talk.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to ruin it. Yeah.
But I have another one.
And again, I'm wrapping my head around the fact that this brilliant woman's like, how can I make this real gross?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about that is, who would be better at portraying an oppressor than
And oppressed.
a person who's oppressed by that particular population?
No, it's true. I mean, it's brilliant. This is what we make fun of, and she did it perfectly, which is great.
Buxom, bettable, breasty little figures, probably something she heard someone say.
Right. Like, she's basically writing as if she was a 1970s science fiction writer.
She pulled her little pocket notebook out and was like, I'm taking that down. That's going in a story.
That kind of reminds me of one of my other goodies from Goodreads that I read was Le Guin is a competent writer, but her modern reputation overlooks the fact that many of her works were written during a time when sci-fi simply wasn't good as a matter of course.
Oh, so
Simply
it
wasn't
can't
good.
be good.
Yeah. Simply wasn't good.
I like those gymnastics.
Okay, anything else?
No, I guess not.
Yeah.
I have an additional boob talk.
Oh, yes. Well,
and
I would like to say very clearly for the record, buxom, bettable, breasty little figures.
Oh, sorry.
Because we kind of talked over you earlier.
Seconded.
Yes, go, Lori.
Okay. There is one part where Davidson is disappointed with the clothing that these breeding females are wearing. He says fashion appears to have changed on Earth to be less revealing. No more nipple peeps.
Oh, yeah.
And nipple peeps is one word. It's
Nipple
so funny.
We call them fashion malfunctions in the 20th century.
What do you think a nipple peep means? Literally, I don't get to see any nipples, or do you think a nipple peep is a type of blouse?
Is nip slip one word now?
I would say
I
two.
could check the AP style guides and see what newspapers would
Nip
say.
slip. A nip slip.
I would maybe hyphenate it. No, nip slip.
Maybe Ursula predicted the nip slip.
Maybe.
Feminist fave.
All right.
Do we have any fantastical foods?
I don't.
I can't recall any food.
I don't think they ate anything in this book.
It's like Star Wars.
They did sleep a lot though,
Dreaming.
So much sleep.
which frankly I loved. I was like, yes, we don't sleep at night. We just sort of dream.
So
Were they sleeping? So the Ashtians don't sleep like you and I.
They sleep just like I do.
Their circadian
It's like a few
rhythms-
hours here and there.
Yeah. Well,
even humans aren't supposed to sleep the way we do from a 10 to 6 a.m. In the past, we've slept in cycles and
then they
shifts.
saw dreams and quote unquote reality as both real. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I loved.
I didn't quite understand that part and probably never would be able to because all I have are anxiety dreams. So I was like, oh, I don't want to do that when I'm awake.
Well, they seem to lucid dream. So their dreams are an opportunity for growth and
Yeah,
learning.
that's
And
good stuff.
Which I love.
Yeah. And then they can do it when they're awake. It seems like in a lot of ways very comforting because he can still spend time with his wife even though she's dead. But then
Yeah.
he's also stressed out because he spends time with Lubov and he feels guilty about how all
that's true.
that unwound.
I'm sure they have stress.
For
dreams.
me, when I have a waking dream, that's called dissociation. It is Less fun.
Daydreaming is the nicer word for it.
Oh, I'm just staring out the window.
Just staring out the window, thinking about death.
When I was a kid, like I could lose whole halves of an hour just staring out the window at nothing. Like I wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd do that now.
We just do it with your phone.
Oh, yeah. I just stare into the abyss.
I just do it with
And I do it for much longer than half an hour.
Soap stuff?
I mean, he did assault and kill a woman, and then he got revenge, and they fought, but that's, like, just sad.
Maybe him falling out of... his helicopter crash perfectly where he could be found and captured. Davidson's helicopter crash perfectly where he could be found by the Athsheans. And then...
You know something? I think we've gotten a little far afield with soap stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because soap stuff is not just like a goofy coincidence.
Convenient plot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's in everything.
That's
soap
true.
stuff is like... Well, you know, the classic is like you've got a chip implanted in your head that makes you someone else. Or like someone comes back from the dead. That's classic soap stuff.
Okay, so no soap stuff then.
Yeah, I don't think so. Nothing felt super soapy to me.
Yeah. This is a very serious book.
Very serious.
There's no fun robot secret sisters. Like,
yeah. Okay. Did you like this book?
Yeah. I found it a challenging read, but I did like it.
yeah, I always enjoy reading Le Guin.
I mean, it was hard at times, for sure. But I liked it. Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, kids?
I think it's a pretty classic Star Wars. There's like a universe with planets, and they're...
It's Lord of the Rings because the Athsheans are hobbits.
No!
Okay, counterpoint. I feel strongly this time.
Okay.
The Athsheans are Ewoks.
I was thinking about this.
They live in a tree world, and there's a city called Endor.
I thought that as well.
Endtor.
Very good, very good.
Is that where the Ewoks live?
Endor.
Okay, get out of here. If the Ewoks don't live on Endor, then your analogy means
Ewoks
nothing
live
to
on
me.
Endor.
Ewoks live on Endor.
I know, but that's not where they are.
It's close enough.
One of their cities is called Endor.
Oh, your cities. Oh, I thought you said a planet.
Council, your argument is accepted. You're overruled.
Star Wars.
Those are fantastic points.
And they don't there is no journeying here.
I mean,
That's
I
true.
would maybe...
I accept this. I
Maybe-
accept them as Ewoks.
You could maybe argue that the trees are like Ents, but just because they're trees, that's sweet.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the alternate is it's Avatar.
Honestly, the Wookiees use trees a little bit more like...
Well, you know, originally in Return of the Jedi, they were supposed to be Wookiees, but
The
they
Ewoks?
weren't. Yeah, but they were not cute enough, so they made them a fun size.
Oh, Wookiees are cute.
Fun-sized
Ewoks are cuter, though.
Wookiees.
All right, friends.
Oh.
All right.
No,
All right,
I'm not
coming
over
up
this
next
yet.
time.
Okay, all right.
Pocket-sized Wookiee. Low baka.
A little wooklet. Mini baka.
Good job, guys. Okay, coming up next time
In a week, we'll be gone for a week.
in 1 week.
We're definitely not going to record this in 1 minute.
No, it's like Jeopardy. You just go back. I changed my shirt.
Houston, Do You Read by James Tiptree Jr.
Woohoo.
Not a man.
Oh, that reminded me of Janet. I was like, what does that remind me of? Not a girl. Not a robot.
Bye.
Bye.